Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Chiaka Amadi, and I'm one of the associates at the EL Academy. And I'm very pleased to introduce this afternoon Tracy Wilson. Tracy has been someone that we've worked with over a number of years now. First of all, in her capacity as EAL lead teacher in her own school, where she used the self-assessment tool, which is the quality mark, to evaluate the work that her school was doing with the pupils who were learners of English as an additional language. And I was very pleased to go along and award her gold status. But subsequent to that, Tracy has done quite a lot of work across her local authority, helping other schools in Bedford to also improve their EL provision, and to work, some of them to work also towards a quality mark. Because Tracy had been doing this for, I think it was about 4 years at the time, we felt it was time for her to reevaluate the work that she was doing. And so with a very slightly different set of criteria, and also focusing in on a couple of particular areas that she had been hoping to develop, we went back and looked at Tracy's work and were very pleased in order to be able to congratulate her and present her with a re-accreditation also at gold level. So without saying any more than that, our sort of double gold winner, Tracy Wilson, I'll hand over to you.
Lovely. Thank you, Shaka, and lovely to see you again. And good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to start sharing my screen shortly. So as Shaka quite rightly said, I have been working with the local authority, which is the school improvement team. It should have been a 1-year secondment. It's now into its 7th year. So, you know, things are improving. We still have a long way to go, but we're getting there. And it's changed, the structure has changed. So I'm now also a licensed Bell Foundation licensed practitioner. So I'm also offering training, delivering training across the borough as well, which is very useful for schools. And I'm also an EAL specialist lead for the children teaching school in Bedfordshire. So I've been in this game for a very long time now, and as time has gone on, the developments are still coming. You know, EAL doesn't change very much, as you all know, but what we do can make a massive difference. So my thinking is always to remain passionate. Sarah, I really enjoyed your presentation. I found it really exciting. It's nice to hear and see a different way of working. So yeah, it's about passion. For me, it's all about the passion and continuing the journey with the new knowledge that we gain, and that's by sharing practice. And today, by listening to Sarah's presentation, I've gathered some new information and possibly a new way of working. So yeah, so let's go to, I'm going to look at developing oracy. Right. Hopefully everyone can see that. No, so let's escape that. Let's zoom. Right. I'm going to start sharing if I can. Right, start sharing. Here we go. Okay, can we see that screen? Can you see my screen? Just thumbs up's great. Lovely, fantastic. Okay. So our school context, I haven't put no animation in, I've just realized that on this last minute today. So school context, so we are a very large primary school based in Bedford, very, very culturally diverse. We have a high percentage of EAL learners, 30% at the moment, so that's above national. Minority ethnic group, there's 48% of pupils here and 37 different languages spoken at home. So here we have we're looking at oracy today and the main components. So as we know, there's 3 main components to this area. So there's language structures, vocabulary, dialogue, And these are the areas that we focus on, and we're looking at listening as well, the importance of listening. Sarah was talking about that in her presentation. So things that we need to consider for our EL learners is that because our English language is not pronounced as it is written or written as it's pronounced, these sometimes can become a difficulty for the children to grasp the concept of new letters and sounds and understanding the principles of phonics. So it's really important that we're listening to what the children are saying and how they are saying things. Right, so within our school, the way we develop oracy for our new arrivals, so absolute beginners to pre-intermediate level, we look at assessing their proficiency in English, and we look at identifying the language needs of that particular pupil. Now, how we do that, we use an assessment framework. It's not the English DFE English proficiency scales. We used to do that, like most schools in the country had to do that. But we don't use that. We use an assessment framework that's designed specifically for EAL learners. So we look at that, and then we say, okay, we say there's step one here. This is what we need to do in order to develop these skills. And within this framework, which is the NASI framework, they will have recommendations for the different steps that the pupil is at. So we not only do we develop for our new arrivals the social, but we also develop the academic language as well. And this is all through planned activities. We provide opportunities for our learners to practice speaking, rehearsing the targeted language. And again, that's through all the planned sort of talking, listening activities. We encourage our learners to talk about their idea through questioning. So lots of open questions, why, how, when, and then sort of rephrasing, modeling to develop that understanding of language structure. We use lots of role play, and that helps them to communicate their ideas by speaking in different social contexts and in different social roles. So whether it's for a rehearsal of a play or at the shops, at the doctors, that sort of thing, it's all there. We give our learners, really importantly, time to think before they respond. Because remember, our focus today, for me, is looking at absolute beginners to pre-intermediate. We create a safe space for them to have a go. So, it's that sort of environment where don't be afraid, no answer is wrong. And we're here to help each other. And it's a real supportive environment. And it builds confidence very quickly. Confidence, I think, sometimes is underestimated of the importance of the role that plays with our new arrivals. So we're very proud of our provision because it is a very stimulating, calm, relaxing, and inviting environment. So this again supports these areas of development, especially for communication. So we encourage our children to use their first language, as Sarah said about the translanguaging, to support their literacy skills in additional language. It's all about making that connection, isn't it? When they're using using their home language, and then we're providing the translation of that. It's making that connection, and so they're making sense of the world, and actually making sense of what you're asking them to do, as Graham said about asking new arrivals to do some written tasks. It's absolutely ridiculous. So the importance of using the first language is very useful for those students and for the teacher. Okay, the tools and resources we use, mainly our main tool is the Learning Village program, and I'm sure most of you in the room today will be familiar with this program. It's an online blended learning program. It has 3 strands. It has the curriculum, phonics, and the social English. Over the years, I don't know how I did without this program. It's absolutely outstanding in terms of supporting new arrivals. It just accelerates progress very, very quickly. It enables you to link it with the curriculum. It provides a key vocabulary, the language structure. There's so many ways that you can use it. There's, you know, ready-made resources that you can download. You have all the different activities, the closed procedure, barrier gates. There's so much that you can use to develop these children. So basically how it works, it's really sort of child friendly. The images are presented. They have to listen to the text, pronounce the word. Then they do these practice sessions by sort of filling in the gap, listening to words, to identify and match it to that particular image. Then they have to sort of match the image to the sentence. And then what that does, then it starts identifying the gaps in that child's learning, because every week the Learning Village leader will receive a progress report, and through those reports you can identify if that child has clearly understood the learning intention there, or if they've just about made the pass mark, which is normally about 75%. You can obviously you know, customize it to your needs. My pass mark now is 95%. 75 was, it's good, but you want to really sort of challenge your learners. So yeah, so there's lots of this program, as I say, it's a very, very good program, and it's really worth inquiring about if you don't use it for that. And that would be for international students as well, because I know it's used internationally. We also have our own scheme of work, English, social English scheme of work that I developed many moons ago. We still use it. We look at the topic area, the basic key vocabulary, language structure, examples of words to be taught. Board games, love the board games. They love the board games. It creates a nice, relaxed environment. They don't feel so stressed about having to explain everything. It's sort of one word, simple phrases, that sort of thing. But through that, they're learning to turn take. They're having to listen. They're forced to speak. So yeah, so that's our main resources, and the main tool is the Learning Village at this time of our provision. Cultural differences. So here's a statement I found a long time ago. It says cultural diversity is important because our country, workplace, schools are increasingly, well, I can't even see that now, increasingly consist of various cultures, racial and ethnic groups. We can learn from one another, but first we must have a level of understanding about each other in order to facilitate collaboration and cooperation. So yeah, that kind of stuck with me over the years. It's really important. We talk a lot about cultural differences, cultural diversity, but actually sometimes is it more than just words or these buzzwords that go around, you know, establishments, whether it's the government or whether it's our school environments. So in order to really say, are we part of this change? Are we really going to make a difference? Schools have to action what these statements really mean. So here, we've, as a school, I mean, again, we worked on this for a number of years, diversifying the curriculum and celebrating our school community. Now, celebrating the school community is quite simple. It was diversifying the curriculum. This is something that you have to be very creative with. You have to be able to incorporate it already to what's available within the curriculum. You don't want to see it as a bolt-on, you want to see it as something that's really included, embedded, and it becomes, you know, a sort of thread that weaves through the school. So you'll see it across the school being taught without any real sort of reference to, oh, this is a Black astronaut. Naturally, we will have a Black astronaut. Naturally, we will have, you know, Black Asian authors, that sort of thing. So first of all, we looked at, in terms of changing our curriculum, we looked at our school community. Who do we serve? So we looked at that, and then as an SLT, we looked at, we sort of developed a working party, and we explored areas of the curriculum that lent itself to become more culturally inclusive. It was more simpler than we imagined it to be. There are lots of materials out there to support you with this journey, but it was something as simple as Year 6, I don't know, learning World War II. It's quite easy to link other ethnic groups in that achievement. So part of the lesson, whether it be memoirs of say, Black pilots or something, they were shared. It was the displays that were put up. It was, representing all the different ethnic groups that contributed to that achievement for Great Britain. Looking at the Victorians, bringing in Dr. Bernardo, the role that he played in the orphan girls back in the Victorian time, the Black orphan girls. It was quite simple to make that curriculum more culturally inclusive. And then we looked at school assemblies. How could we, without making it explicitly that, oh, we're looking at this, not unless it was Black History Month or something, but ways that we could bring that in, even by the books that were being shared with the children, depicting different authors. We purchased a lot of beautiful, high quality resources. So that was supporting each classroom in their book corners. So real, true representation of all the children that we served, dual language books, different authors, different gender, everything was there. So that was a big investment for us, and we're very pleased that we've been able to do that. Racism and discrimination workshops, we obviously bring in qualified consultants to deliver those workshops for our pupils. Really interesting sort of discussions that are generated from that, and the assumptions that children make are addressed. They're understanding the real definition of racism. Quite often they say, oh, he's been racist to me. Well, what did he say? He said your eyes are blue. So now we're quite pleased to say that our children, if we said to them, what's the definition of racism, they would be able to tell us. That would be our lower and upper key stage 2 children, because they've been taught. And over the time, we've incorporated that again into our PSHE lessons, etc. Staff, again, most important, that staff, because they can also feel very uncomfortable around these discussions, these situations, recording, but actually, was that racist? Well, he doesn't really mean it. Well, actually, I'm sorry, the Ecology Act says that these are the characteristics that are protected. And yes, he referred to the color of that person's skin or that child's belief, religion. So yes, it would be classified as racist, right? Okay, so, and we really explored about cultural differences to understand children's behaviors within school, and possibly how it could be connected to the cultural differences. We done the pupil conferencing to measure the impact on some of the way the lessons had changed, and we're very lucky to say that they were very pleased, and they wanted that journey to continue. They felt happy that they were, a lot of children that were being represented within the curriculum. They could see their people from their ethnic groups were being depicted in stories, in slideshows, that sort of thing. So that was that. So now that's all embedded. It's really good work for everybody. Celebrating and learn together. That's a journey that we continue on in education. So we have this whole school heritage bag project. There's our little heritage bag on the slide here. So we had those printed up. Inside those, you'll have prompts. The prompts are mainly connected to history, geography, PSHE, and RE. So within those prompts, it might ask you to tell us about any sort of religious festivals that you observe. It might be, can you tell me what countries your families are from? That sort of things, all about a child's heritage and their culture. So that's then taken home once a week by a different child, and then they do show and tell. And then we have a whole section on our website that's celebrated on as well, and through Twitter accounts as well. Whole school displays. Shaka's been to our school. I'm sure she can vouch for us. Our school is full of displays that are culturally inclusive, reference to inspirational people, artwork from around the world, that sort of thing. We have a cultural day, multicultural week. That's an annual event for us. It's been for a number of years. Really great. We travel around the world. Most schools do this, I'm sure. This year, our cultural day, the theme is carnival. So the children will have workshops all morning. In the afternoon, we open the gates to the parents. Everyone, we have a carnival king, queen. They will parade around the school grounds, and all the children will join in with their headdresses, masks. There'll be live steel pans, music, food on sale because we're fundraising for our school in Ghana. So yeah, a really nice whole school community event. And obviously, along with every other school in the country, we celebrate Black History Month. Over the years, that's become less and less a prominent sort of feature in our school because of our curriculum's change now. So yes, we enhance it by having visiting artists, that sort of thing, but nowhere as much as we used to, because it was almost becoming like a cultural day, cultural week, that type of thing. So now it's sort of more low key, but we do still celebrate those achievements of all, African Caribbeans that have contributed to society. We work with an extension. I'm in partnership with the Retired Caribbean Nurses. Again, that's a really sort of useful project for us to look at as a local project. So working with them, I'm developing an educational resource for them that's going to be archived in the Bedford Luton University. Persona dolls, if you've heard of them, and if you haven't, they're wonderful. Great ways of tackling discrimination, especially in early years. They're sort of life-size dolls, and they have their own persona. You build that persona, and they're lovely. And the children really, you have to treat them as if they're real. They live in the cupboard. They don't come out in the book corner or in the play area, and they come out and they might say, oh, we might have named her Cassandra. Cassandra, okay, what's your hair? Cassandra tells us all about her father coming from the Caribbean and her mother from the UK, the food that she enjoys. But actually on the playground today, the little girl said something quite horrible to her. Or they say, what did she say, Cassandra? And then Cassandra said, she said that they didn't like the colour of my skin. And that's a really good way of sort of tackling racism from a very young age, because it happens in early years, They say, I'm not allowed to play with you because you're this colour. So it's a really good way of tackling that. And then the children all sort of come together in empathy. So it's all linked with PSHE, etc., social, SEMC, etc. So BCAP being heading up, that's the Black Children's Achievement Programme. It was introduced by National Strategies, I would say, around about 15 years ago. We were a pilot school along with another school in Bedford for 2 years, and we continued with it. It's still fantastic. We started it for a long while now, continued with it. If you look at our school website, you'll see all the productions around the history of rap, Motown. So much has happened. This year, we're looking at the history of African Caribbean dance. So the children have just started workshops with these international dancers. So we do the history and the dance formation as well. And we have charities that we're twinned with, that we support. 2 of them, one is in Ghana and one's in Uganda. We're twinned with a school in Ghana, JTR's a primary school. We've been fundraising for a number of years for different things. I visited school on 2 occasions, and I thoroughly enjoyed my time and sort of built a very strong relationship with the school now. The children communicate, and Watoto, Isabella, I think, was 6 when we started to sponsor her. She's now almost completing university and still continues to write to us. So that's some of my ideas, some of our practice here at Goldington Academy. So thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Tracy. It's the first time we had you on, I wondered what more could you do? And now I know you just keep doing more and more. And it gets better.
Yeah.
That's
really nice. Great. It's all about, I think if you don't sort of have the passion and you have to have you have to be creative, it all becomes a little bit too samey every day, and it's very hard to maintain that commitment. So for me, I've been very fortunate. I've had different outlets, so helping others is one of my favorite things to do.